I work HR at a tech company in Stockholm. An American engineer joined our team last year. 3 months in, his wife had a baby. I explained our parental leave policy. 480 days shared between parents, paid at 80%. He stared at me. Days, yes, 16 months total. You can split it however you want. That's over a year, correct. Most fathers here take at least 3 months. Some take 6. He looked genuinely distressed. But what about my career? I told him every father at our company takes leave. Our CEO took 5 months when his daughter was born. It's completely normal. In America, that would destroy your reputation. People would think you're not serious about work. I pulled up our company directory and showed him the parental leave tracker. 12 people currently on leave. 8 of them men. He sat there for a long time. Then he said, "This feels like socialism." I asked what he meant. The government shouldn't pay people not to work. That's how you get dependency. Next thing you know, nobody wants to work at all. I reminded him he'd still be working, just not for 16 months while bonding with his newborn. Exactly. 16 months of not contributing to the economy. He declined to leave, took 2 weeks of vacation instead, came back exhausted. 3 months later, he asked if it was too late to take the parental leave. I explained it had to be used before the child turned 8. His face lit up. Wait, I can take it later? Now he's planning to take 6 months when his kid is 2. His wife is Swedish. She's already explained how this works. A tourist asked me if parental leave in Norway was optional. I work at the Oslo Public Library. She'd been chatting with a mother who mentioned being on leave for 11 months. Is that a special program? Like for low-income families? I explained every parent in Norway gets parental leave. 49 weeks at full pay, or 59 weeks at 80%. That's almost a year. Yes, and fathers get 15 weeks specifically for them. Paid? Of course. She looked skeptical. Who pays for that? The government. Through the social security system, so taxpayers fund people's life choices. I'd never heard it phrased that way. We fund family support. Yes, that's socialism. In America, we believe in personal responsibility. If you choose to have a baby, you should pay for that choice yourself. The mother she'd been talking to was standing nearby. She joined the conversation. Explained she'd returned to her same job, same salary. Her husband had taken 4 months. Their son was now in subsidized daycare. The tourist shook her head. Subsidized daycare too? Yes, about $300 a month. In America, that's $1,200 minimum, sometimes $2,000. The Norwegian mother nodded. I've heard that's why our birth rate is stable and women stay in the workforce. Your system seems to punish people for having children. The tourist got defensive. It's not punishment. It's freedom. Nobody's forcing you to have kids. If you can't afford it, don't do it. The mother asked, so only wealthy people should have children? No, I'm saying people should plan better. Save money. Not expect handouts. I mentioned that economists consider parental leave an investment, not a handout. Lower infant mortality, higher maternal health, better child development outcomes. She cut me off. That's propaganda. If it was such a good investment, American businesses would offer it. Some do, I said, but only about 20%. Exactly. Because it doesn't make business sense. The market decides what works. She left. The Norwegian mother looked at me. She seemed angry. American individualism, I said. It runs deep. I manage a co-working space in Berlin. An American startup founder rented space for 6 months. One of our regular members, a German product designer, mentioned he was starting parental leave next week. The American asked how long? 4 months initially. Maybe 2 more after my wife finishes hers. 6 months total? Possibly. We get 14 months combined. 2, specifically for fathers, the American laughed. Not meanly, just reflexively. Must be nice? The German asked what he meant. Having the government pay you to take half a year off. I worked through both my kids' births. Took a week each time. A week. That's actually generous in America. Most guys take 3 days. The German looked genuinely shocked. 3 days. How do you bond with your child? You do it on weekends, evenings. You make it work. But newborns need round-the-clock care. And your wife is recovering from childbirth. That's what she did. She took 3 months, unpaid. The German set down his coffee. Unpaid? She was a teacher. They don't get paid leave. That's inhumane. The American bristled. It's freedom. She chose that job knowing the benefits. Nobody forced her. But teaching is essential. How does America expect teachers to have children? Lots of teachers have kids. They figure it out. By going into debt? Returning to work before they're physically healed? That's not figuring it out. That's suffering. The American stood up. This is exactly why Europe is falling behind. You've created this whole culture of dependency. People expect the government to solve everything. In America, we solve our own problems. German asked how forcing new mothers back to work after 6 weeks solves problems. It builds character. Resilience. My wife is tougher because of that experience. Or traumatized. You're proving my point. This victim mentality. This idea that hard work traumatizes people. It's socialism. The German laughed. Parental leave isn't socialism. It's common sense. Government-funded year-long vacations are common sense. It's not a vacation. I'll be caring for an infant. That's harder than my job. The American left early that day. Didn't renew his co-working membership? Later, one of the German members told me they'd seen him post on social media about Europe's work ethic problem. I teach English in Copenhagen. An American expat joined my intermediate conversation class. During a unit on work culture, I asked everyone to share their parental leave experiences. A Danish man said he'd taken 7 months with his daughter. His wife took 5. They'd overlapped for 2 months, the American interrupted. You both stayed home for 2 months? Simultaneously? Yes, it was wonderful. We adjusted to parenting together. Who paid your salary? The government. About 90% of our usual income. She couldn't hide her reaction. Both of you. For 2 months. That's ridiculous. The class went quiet. Danes don't love confrontation. How's it ridiculous? He asked calmly. Someone has to pay for that. You're taking money from other people so you can both stay home. We pay into the system our entire working lives. Then we use it when we need it. Like insurance. Insurance is voluntary. Taxes aren't. A woman in the class spoke up. She'd lived in Texas for 2 years. When I had my son in Houston, I got 6 weeks, unpaid. I had to use short-term disability. It's standard, the American said. It was horrible. I was still bleeding, in pain. My son wasn't sleeping. I was producing barely enough milk, and I had to go back to teach kindergarten. I'm sorry that was hard, but that's the trade-off for freedom. What freedom? Freedom to suffer needlessly. Freedom from government overreach. Your system here in Denmark, it trains people to depend on the state. In America, we stay independent, the Danish father asked. Independent from what? Support community. Basic humanity. From socialism. Everyone stared. You think taking care of newborns is socialism? The Texas woman asked. I think government-funded year-long leaves are socialism. Yes. I tried to redirect the conversation. Asked the American about her own experience. I went back after 8 weeks. It was fine. Was it paid leave? No, I saved money beforehand. Planned ahead. That's what responsible people do, the Danish father said. I planned to. I planned to be present for my daughter's first year. That seems more responsible than abandoning her for financial reasons. She gathered her things. I'm not doing this. I came here to learn English, not get lectured about socialism. She never came back. Several students asked me what happened. I explained, some Americans view European social policies as threatening. Threatening to what? Someone asked. I didn't have a good answer. I'm a hospital administrator in Helsinki. An American medical resident did a 3-month rotation with us. Excellent doctor. Terrible understanding of Finnish family policy. A nurse mentioned she'd be leaving soon for parental leave. The American asked routine questions. When's the baby due? First child, etc. Then the nurse mentioned her husband would take the last 4 months. 4 months? What does he do? He's a pilot, and his airline is fine with that. It's required by law. He has to be allowed to take parental leave. The American looked at me. Required? I explained Finland's parental leave system. Each parent gets 160 days, so roughly 10 months each. 10 months EACH. Yes, though most families split it differently. But both parents have individual rights to leave, so a pilot can just not fly for 4 months. Correct? And the airline has to cope with that. Airlines plan for this. It's completely normal. The resident shook her head. This is why European healthcare has such long wait times. Everyone's always on leave, the nurse said. Our infant mortality rate is half of America's. That's a different issue, is it? American mothers go back to work while still healing. Babies don't get adequate early care. Then you wonder why health outcomes are worse. Our health outcomes are bad because of lifestyle choices. Diet, exercise, not because of parental leave. I showed her comparative data. Countries with longer parental leave had better maternal and infant health metrics across the board. She studied the charts. This can't be right. Why not? Because if paid leave was this beneficial, America would have it. We'd be leading the world, the nurse asked, unless the benefit to families doesn't matter as much as corporate profits. That's conspiracy thinking. American companies care about employees. Then why do 60% of American mothers return to work within 3 months of giving birth? Because they want to. Career ambition. Financial independence, or because they have no choice. The American closed her laptop. You've built a system that punishes ambition and rewards dependency. That's socialism. And socialism always fails eventually. The nurse and I exchanged looks. When Finland's economy collapses under the weight of all these social programs, the resident said, "Don't say nobody warned you. That was 4 years ago. Finland's economy is doing fine. The resident is back in America. I saw on LinkedIn that she had a baby. It took 6 weeks unpaid. I wanted to send a message. Didn't? Some gaps are too wide to bridge. I work at the Swedish embassy in Washington, D.C. We host information sessions for Americans interested in working in Sweden. The question always comes up, what's the catch? A woman once asked, how much of your salary goes to taxes? I explained Swedish tax rates. She did the math quickly. So you're giving up almost a third of your income? In exchange for healthcare, education, parental leave, elder care, unemployment insurance, that's socialism. It's a social safety net. Same thing. Her husband asked about parental leave specifically. I explained the system. 16 months, 80% pay, split however parents want. What about people who don't have kids? He asked. They're subsidizing everyone else's choices. I mentioned that childless people also benefit from living in a society with supported families, lower crime, better education, healthier communities. Those are externalities, not direct benefits. His wife jumped in. You're asking people like us, we're not having kids, to pay for other people's children. Everyone contributes to systems they might not use directly. I don't have a car, but my taxes maintain roads. Roads are infrastructure. Children are personal choices. Children are future citizens. Future workers. Future taxpayers. That sounds like Ponzi scheme logic. Tried a different angle. Asked if they'd ever needed family medical leave. Sick parent, personal illness, anything. No, the husband said. We're healthy. We take care of ourselves. If something happened, we have insurance. Private insurance we pay for, which is more expensive per capita than our system, but it's ours. We chose it. That's worth the premium. The wife nodded vigorously. Exactly. Freedom isn't free. Sometimes it costs more. We're fine with that. I asked what they'd do if one of them had a catastrophic illness. Lost their job? Couldn't afford Cobra? We'd figure it out. Family, savings, community support. What if that wasn't enough? The husband stood. That's the risk of freedom. You might fall. But at least you're not being propped up by force. We'll take that trade. They left. Later, another couple approached me. They'd been listening. We're moving to Stockholm next year, the woman said. My husband got a job offer. I'm pregnant. She started crying. When they explained the parental leave policy, I couldn't believe it. I thought there had to be some trick, some way they'd take it back. Her husband put his arm around her. We've been dreading this pregnancy financially. In America, she'd get nothing. I'd get nothing. The baby would cost us probably $15,000 out of pocket. In Sweden, I said, the birth costs nothing. Parental leave is paid. Childcare is subsidized. I know, she said. That's why I'm crying. I didn't know it could be different. Some Americans see European family policy as socialism. Others see it as basic human decency. The gap between those worldviews is wider than the Atlantic. I run a parenting blog. Posted about Germany's parental leave system. An American reader left a 10-paragraph comment explaining why this was destroying Europe. The key points. Government dependency. Creates weak citizens' paid leave, removes incentive to work fathers taking months off. Undermines family structure. Someone has to pay for these programs that someone is productive workers being punished for. Successy. Eventually the system collapses. Look. At Venezuela replied with data. Germany's economy is the strongest in Europe. Employment rates are high. Birth rates are stable. Family wealth is growing. She responded. Give it time. How much time? Germany's had parental leave since the 1950s. Socialism is a slow poison. Posted examples of German families thriving under the system. Fathers who'd bonded with their children. Mothers who'd maintained careers. Healthy, well-adjusted kids, she replied. Anecdotes aren't data. I posted the data. She stopped responding. 3 months later, she commented on a different post. I had a baby last month. Went back to work last week. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I asked if she'd had any paid leave. No, used my vacation days. Still came up short on bills. I asked if she'd reconsider her views on parental leave. Long pause. Then, it's still socialism. Just because something would help me personally doesn't make it right. I respected the consistency, but felt heartbroken by the ideology that made her suffer unnecessarily. I organized cultural exchange programs in Brussels. Last year, we hosted 20 American professionals for 6 weeks. Healthcare, education, and labor policy tours. On the final day, we gathered for reflections. A woman from Texas raised her hand. I need to say something. I came here thinking Europe was this socialist disaster. Failing economies. No innovation. People living off the government. She paused. But I've met engineers on parental leave. Teachers with work-life balance. Parents who aren't drowning financially, and your economies are fine. Better than fine. Another American interrupted. Everything costs more here because of taxes. My healthcare costs more in Houston than your entire tax burden here. That's your choice of plan. No, that's American healthcare. I pay $800 a month for insurance with a $6,000 deductible. Before the insurance covers anything, I'm out $14,000 a year. A man from Ohio spoke up. The reason I oppose these policies in America isn't because they don't work. It's because they require collective sacrifice. We're not a collective culture. Meaning what? Someone asked. Meaning Americans don't want to pay for other people's kids? Other people's health care. Other people's choices. We value individualism above community support. The Texas woman said, maybe that's the problem. It's not a problem. It's a feature. It's who we are. Another participant disagreed. I don't think most Americans actually believe that. Poll after poll shows we want paid parental leave, universal health care, better work-life balance. But somehow we keep voting for people who block it because we know it leads to socialism. Or because we've been convinced that taking care of each other is weakness. Room fell silent. Europe isn't perfect. But watching Americans call basic family support Socialism reveals something deeper than policy disagreement. It shows a culture that's been taught to see community care as tyranny and suffering as character-building. The sad irony. Most Americans support paid parental leave when polled. They just don't believe it's possible without destroying freedom. That belief keeps millions of parents trapped in an impossible choice. Financial ruin or abandoning newborns? Maybe that's not freedom. Maybe it's just cruelty with better marketing.